So, greetings. All right, I'm gonna go to the kitchen, so hopefully y'all be able to hear me. I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna grab my cards, but before I do that, um, quick disclaimer, y'all. Most of this, like, yes, I'm going to channel, I'm going to divine, but this is opinion mixed in with experience, like personal experience, witnessing, that sort of thing. So, um, I actually wanted to talk about this yesterday. We're here dropping cards. I wanted to talk about this actually yesterday, but I just wasn't in the space. I didn't feel it. Um, so I didn't do it, obviously. So yeah, but I do want to talk about the spiritual community, the fatigue, um, just the exhaustion, certain collective energies, um, demographics, it's a lot going on just worldwide. There's so many different energies at play that it can be quite exhausting, especially as a spiritualist. It can be very exhausting. So, um, that's that, you know. Um, yeah, I just wanted to come on and talk about this, but y'all bear with me because I do want to make me something to drink, a sippy sip. Hopefully, you guys can hear me. I got a wireless mic, so it does allow you to walk around and do what you need to do. But yeah, other than that, I hope everybody is well. Let me share this real quick. I'm gonna share this live. Yeah, I just finished one live and came back for another because it's kind of a little slow tonight, but everything happens for a divine reason. So I do acknowledge that. Okay. Maybe y'all gonna hear like water and all kind of crazy sounds. Bear with me, please. Bear with me. It's coming. I'm coming. Okay. I'll be at my table shortly. Greetings. Hello, Jocelyn. How are you? Good evening, wherever you guys are in the world. I will get to the topic in a second. I need to make myself something to drink. Okay. Let's see. I do have lime, right? I have some limes. I'm a margarita queen. Okay, in case some of you guys have not picked up on that, I love me some margaritas. Okay, I love me some tequila. They got this brand, this Topo Chico brand. It's like a seltzer, right? Well, they have a margarita um, with different flavors. It's so good. They have pineapple, they have strawberry with hibiscus, they have prickly pear, and then they have the traditional margarita flavor. It's so good. And me, because I like a little more spice in my stuff, I still add a little tequila in that bitch, okay? I'm in the US. That is where I'm at in the world. I think this would be considered Southwest. I don't know, child. The West Coast, the Southwest. Where are you? Where are you from around the world? Are you in Texas? Okay. All right. Yummy, yum, yum, yum. Oh, you're in Texas. Is it hot? I have family from Texas. I'm assuming that it's hot right now. I don't even know why I asked such a silly question. I assume that it is freaking hot. I'm well. Thank you for asking. Okay. I hope you're enjoying your Monday, that it's been kind. Your weekend's been kind to you. Okay. I'm not live for many love reads. Why is it saying that? Okay. So let's get into the topic, y'all. Y'all know how I can be sometimes. It's like have to get to the point, right? But I promise I'm gonna get to the point. So I wanted to talk about like the spiritual fatigue in the spiritual community. I don't even know where to begin because sometimes I get real passionate about what I'm getting and downloading and feeling, and then I want to express it. And then when I don't like get to it or do it when I feel it, I lose it. It's been hot for a minute, like a couple of weeks. It's been hot. It was kind of rainy during May and a little bit early June. We had some rain shower like for a couple of days, and then it was still kind of breezy outside. And now it's just like, bitch, do I even want to play outside? I don't know how the kids be playing. I love to see it, like kids still play outside, but it's like, child, how y'all doing it? It's hot, like too hot to swim. Like, damn. So yeah, so the fatigue, I feel like, especially for the spiritualists, I want to talk to you guys first, okay? As a fellow quote unquote spiritualist, I don't like putting labels on every motherfucking thing, but sometimes it helps, right? Um, I feel like part of this spiritual fatigue, and you may already know this, it's a given. Like a lot of the times when you feel that tired, like you feel drained, and that's why we have to upkeep our spiritual hygiene. We have to honor ourselves, honor our cycles, honor our rest. Um, because it can become, I'll speak for myself, it can be quite um addicting to constantly be of service to people. Sometimes it's a distraction as well. I have come to realize that it most definitely can be a distraction from self, or just like you don't know how to just be present. You have to always like be doing something, helping, being there for everyone else, and sometimes forgetting about you, right? Um, so if you're content, like you're tending to other people's needs, especially the collective grief right now, or has been a thing for quite some time, because there's a lot more going on in the world just than in the US. Um, so if you're someone that cares about the state globally, just the state of the world, it is heavy, especially as a spiritualist. You're doing all this spiritual work, these prayers, you lighting candles, you doing all this work for other people as well, especially if you have like clients. You don't have to be a reader. You could be any other type of service of spiritual service to anyone, right? So um when we're creating content as well as spiritualists too, because let me go back. I'm all over the place, please forgive me. I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's ADHD. I don't know what that is. um what kind of sparked this for me is I did come across a video from another reader. Don't remember her name. I don't even subscribe to her. It popped up on my timeline, which is why I knew that it was like right on time. Um, she made some good points about like how readings, and I've been saying this for a minute, how the spiritual community and in the tarot spaces as messengers, it's become just too entertaining. And she said something that stood out to me. She was talking about spiritual loops, and how sometimes, like, and most readers may not even realize that sometimes we can contribute to keeping people in spiritual cycles or loops, right? Specifically love readings for sure, because and some people know that that's what sells. Some people know that that's what the majority of the collective want to know about, is their love life. Even mainly not like who's coming towards me always. There is people that do want to know about new love coming in and stuff like that, but most people are stuck on specific people and have been stuck on specific people for quite some time. So she was making a point to say that she's kind of disappointed, and she notices how some readers are not wanting to participate in this anymore because she said she had did a reading. So she had did a reading. I think it was like a sign, a zodiac sign reading, and it was a love message that came through. And she said that got the most views out of anything that she's recently posted. Yeah, and I noticed that sometimes too. I think one of my videos, I think I posted this past, not this past summer, the summer before, like a year ago. I had posted a how do they feel pick a card reading, and I had mentioned timelines, and like I was using cards that had like weeks and months, years, stuff like that in it. That got me the most views I have gotten in a while, and I'm just like, for real, you know what I'm saying? Like I pay attention to things like that, and it's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate, and it's not just like romance readings. I noticed like predictions and stuff like that. Um, Pushing too much for predictions and things like that, it is trendy and people want to know their future. And partially the reason why is because it doesn't require accountability. It's like, oh, tell me my future, and I can just sit on my ass and wait for it to unfold and happen. Where tarot to me is a reflective tool, it is a timeless tool that you could tap into the past, present, and future, or the potential of energies. You can tap into wounding, you can tap into ambitions and goals. You know, there's so many layers of how you can utilize the tarot as a spiritual tool, as a sacred tool, that I feel like is kind of being it's just becoming so diluted, if that makes sense, diluted with the BS, you know. And sometimes it's unknowing, you know, definitely unknowing, and sometimes it is intentional on some people's behalf because of what gives the most views. And if you're really spiritually tapped in and tuned into the collective and including yourself and your gifts, you know when you're supposed to be posting and when you're not. Me personally, at least I do. I know that there's things that I shouldn't tap into. I know when, where, and how. Okay, like I'm not gonna do that. I don't feel led to do that. I'm not gonna come on here every 5 minutes and post just because, you know, or post this video just because. There's so many videos I have not posted publicly because I had to sit with myself and reflect and say, was this coming really like from spirit, or is this jumping the gun too soon, or is this projection? Is this something that this collective is not simply ready for? May later on may post it, maybe. But I have definitely sat with some things and have not posted it because I didn't feel led to, or feel like it was helpful, or felt like it was coming from the right space or energy. So I check myself at the door all the motherfucking time with this, because you have to. Um, but as a content creator, like if you're truly about that life, right? You're channeling things, you're giving people valuable or sometimes even invaluable information, things that you cannot put a price tag on, right? There's no amount of views or likes or subscribers or money that can measure up to the energy that you provide to the collective. Because let's think about it. Like with anything, like music, TV, there's certain things that have been filmed years ago that still are culturally important, still have an effect on people today. So like these videos, if YouTube is up 20 years from now, 30 years from now, these messages, these videos will most likely still be available and may be so timeless that someone 20, 30, whatever years from now can come across these messages. You know what I mean? Or stick with the person's soul that watched it years ago and still have an effect on them positively. So that's how I see it. That's how I think. Like it's very, you have to be very intentional with what you do, you know? Um, Coming into this wide-eyed and not grounded, it's definitely a cautionary tale for me, especially. I feel like my only intention was like to truly help people, and I always had, and I still do. This is still my mission. Is I still want people to have and experience divine love. So I don't call myself a love reader per se. I feel like I have the gift or the calling to help people in love, but it starts with self, and that's one important lesson that I've learned with this. I'm not a romance reader. I'm someone that is here to assist with more so a revealer of covenant, you know, divine covenants. with self first. So that's how I see it. I don't put myself in those boxes like that, at least not anymore. Um, but yeah, so if you come on, just show up in other people's lives, um, especially people that are grieving or the weight of like showing up spiritually. It's not easy for a lot of spiritualists, especially to be authentic and be like raw and truth, because a lot of people filter their messages out of fear and out of commercialism, just bullshit, like wanting to fit into quote unquote brands. Like, yeah, capitalize off your shit. Like if this is your gift, these are your unique um creative properties, mental properties, that these things that you're creating, yes, capitalize off of them. But if you're doing this simply to be about money and, oh, I'm going to create a brand off tarot and this commercial stuff, like sometimes people just don't have the discernment to tell what's real anymore. They're just so caught up in this trendy shit, trendy spirituality, quick fix spirituality. Um, and there's so many sacred energies out there, people that have these true gifts, these gifts that have been passed down to them from their lineage. The gift of divination, the gift of prophecy, the gift of so many different levels of gifting. And for people to only look at it as entertainment or a tool, I do slightly blame television. I do say this quite often. Media, television does not do a good job with spirituality and how it presents it. And then you have people that are more so propped up that feed into the collective bullshit. And because people that are just like presenting themselves as these spiritualists in this very commercialized, very Stepford wife, very clean cut, polished, um, everything looks like spirituality, the crystals and all that. It lacks the spiritual depth though. You know what I mean? Like it lacks that. Hey Talonda, welcome back again. So you're not just tired because of the work that you do. You're tired because um I'll speak for myself. Yes, it's nice to have an aesthetic. It's nice to, have the fancy intros and stuff. And I talk about that a lot too. Like visually appealing things, I get it. Trust me, I understand. But if you can't see past that and you don't know how to use your discernment and you're just there to get it itching, to itch your ear, scratch your ear to hear what you want to hear, and it tickles your ears, it tickles your fancy. It's dangerous because the things that come in the guise of light, that comes in disguise of being something light and fluffy and spiritual, because of the crystals and the lingo and the titles and the names of the channels and the readers and all this stuff. um what you're not paying attention to always is that some of this is to keep you in cycles and loops, because it keeps you coming back. If it's not keeping you coming back as a sacred medicine child, like you're not coming to get that healing that you need, but you're coming back to be entertained. Because I fell into that loop with tarot readings for a time where it was like the shit was accurate at times and things like that. Like, yeah, it was hitting on things, but it wasn't hitting the soul. It was like confirming things, but it was like confirming it in a way to stay comfortable, to stay in that loop, to keep feeding into something that's not going to, it's not benefiting you in the moment, and most likely is not going to benefit you in the future. And definitely love readings do that to people. you know it gets into the spectacle of it, like, oh, this person is doing this and this is how they feel, and yeah, this is what's going on with the third party and the karmic, and it's like straight up just ghetto reality TV, really, like readings. And I say that all the time because it is. Or just like, what am I watching, like Jersey Shore or something, Laguna Beach or some shit, like what's that? Fucking Dawson's Creek. Like, what am I listening to? Like, what is this that I'm watching? Because it's not helpful. And then you have the readings that you also have to be discerning, the ones that are like feeding your ego, telling you that you're this second coming of Christ, basically, you're the goddess of so and so incarnate, and the people are hating on you, and people been trying to hold you back your whole life, and you're so special, and this is your arrival now. This is your time to shine. It feeds the ego. Not saying that some people do not have purposes and callings and do not get attacked, because that is a part of quote unquote a chosen person that's chosen for a thing. Chosen does not mean that you are exceptionally above everyone else around you. It just means that you're called and chosen for a specific thing, right? And so if you have that spiritual blueprint on you, of course you're going to get spiritually attacked. And most definitely 100% always when you're a child. It starts when you're young so that it can like cap you, limit you, stop you, block you in your later years. But some stuff is just fluff, to keep you entertained. It's not feeding you. So I understand like the spiritual fatigue of those that really grieve for others, and not just that, like people in your family, the silent prayers that you send out for other people. Um, the family and friends that maybe you help or you do spiritual work of any kind, your prayers are spiritual work. That's spiritual work. Getting down on your hands and knees, praying and crying out to God or your ancestors for people that you love and care about, for yourself, for humanity, all of that, that is spiritual work. Your tears, your anger, your rage, that is power. That's energy that's being spent. That's energy that's purifying, cleansing energies, getting shit done, moving things. So it's not always about fucking candles and herbs and tarot readings and Reiki healing. Sometimes it's simply your prayers, your tears, your anger. You know, that is spiritual work. And I understand why people are tired. I understand that, especially just like the things that's going on in the world right now. I understand why you motherfucking tired. This is a tired or fatigue of I've been carrying the weight of souls. And I don't want to make this a race nor gender thing, but I have to say it. I have to be honest. There is no soldier like a motherfucking Black woman in this world that carries the weight for everyone, that's always standing in the front lines supporting somebody. And not saying that no one supports Black women, but for the mass majority, not many people. Not many. We support each other. We see ourselves and we support everyone else. We stand up for everyone else's plight. We somehow we can just see everyone's plight. We just understand. So like I seen this TikTok a long time ago with this man. I don't know what his ethnic background was, but he was of another race, a non-Black race, and he was saying that his mother taught him that if you're in trouble, look for a Black woman because they will always make sure that you're good. And though that might seem like a compliment, and to an extent, yes, but at the same time, it's kind of sad because I see the treatment of women specifically and Black women most definitely specifically, and it's not the most. And you would think that women should be protected, especially children. But no, um, it's a lot of gender wars, and I feel like that's by design as well. That is also a dark agenda to separate people, you know. Um, but it is really sad when you see that majority of what you see that Black women are not protected in mass. No, and it's always, oh well, they always project themselves to be these independent women, and y'all don't need no man and stuff like that. Like that's ridiculous. That's just a cop out. And though yeah, we might handle it or we got it sometimes, but as a human and as a woman, we don't always have it to give, or we shouldn't be overextending ourselves. So that there's another level of fatigue, child. That's another level of spiritual fatigue. The tears, the crying, and getting on your hands and knees, whether you pray into Jesus, whether you pray into Allah, whether you pray into the Orishas or whatever, all that energy spent, that is a spiritual currency that you're giving and giving and giving and giving. So if you're not pouring and giving back to yourself, you're going to tire yourself out. What good is a spiritual warrior if they're not spiritually strapped and equipped and ready and trained? If you're just throwing yourself out in the battlefield, when you need that time to step away. And some might say, oh, well, I don't have time to do that. I don't have time to just have a break. I have to do this. I have to do that. I have to show up for everyone. But you're not just absorbing your own stuff. You're absorbing other people's energy, other people's projections, people's ancestral trauma, just a lot of emotional overload that you're taking in. So if your energy is just like open game, you're gonna become more receptible to that. So you have to sustain your energetic hygiene and protection. Like your spiritual hygiene is a part of your protection. Um, but yeah, so a lot of like I feel like it's a lot of pressure sometimes, like how they say check on your strong friends and stuff like that. It is a pressure for a lot of people, like especially lighthouses, people that are like the light for those in their life, or just people that kind of are that listening ear for a lot of people. People come to you for advice, like friends or family. Um, they just kind of figure you know it all, or you got it all together. And though you've been positioned to be a light, to provide clarity, to help, to guide, you also have to allow yourself to be led and guided sometimes. And it may not always be that you have external people to pour into you in that way that you pour into others, or be that messenger. But I do believe that at least every person in his life should also have a guide as well as be a guide. If that's your path, to say that you're just out here to be a light and not have anyone that holds space for you, that would be very cruel of the universe, don't you think? I would think. But your first and most valuable guide is always going to be the divine source creator, your divine team, your spiritual counsel. They're there for you for a reason. So if you don't have that right now in your physical reality, best believe that they got you. That's what they're there for too, as well. They're not just there to sit on the sidelines and watch you suffer, watch you bump your head around or wear yourself out. So if your spiritual work is like weighing on you, it's not to say, oh, just drop everything and give it up, but just give yourself that break, or give yourself that grace to take a step back. Or if your spiritual giftings, or what you provide, what you give, starts to feel like a pressure to perform, that's when you need to take a step back as well. You know, um, and it's not being lazy. It's you're overextending yourself. So as a spiritual priestess or priest, you're not this power line source for everybody to just eat off of you. You're just not. You do need times of restoration, you know. Um, and I had to tell myself this too, like focusing too much on your reach, who you're gonna help, how many people can you help, how many people you think you should be helping. It's like take it one step at a time and know that divine order, divine alignment, as long as you're in the space of willingness and readiness, and you're equipped to it, spirit is going to place people in your path, you in their path, at the divine right time that you need each other, right? So I don't blame a lot of people. Like that reader that I came across, I don't remember her channel. I have to go back into my history. I think I liked the video though too. I think I liked it. She was saying like basically it's a lot of readers that are just tired. Some people have left and have not come back to the reading because it's not the same. Like when I first came on this space, YouTube, it wasn't overly saturated with tarot readings, and um dare I say, like the tarot readings had more substance back then. Like they were actually really genuine messages and helpful. It wasn't all of that fluff and all of that uh entertaining, gossipy drama, um, or just like overly excitable messages, you know, um, karmic loop reads, keeping people stuck on a fantasy or an idea. keeping them focused on somebody that maybe they shouldn't, or it's time to release. It's like that type of energy, is very overly saturated. A lot of entertainment type of readings, and some stuff is like, yeah, guilty pleasure. Like, you want to know, like, what's up with your haters, like people that did you dirty, like what's up with them, like that type of stuff. Yes, like you might be like, what's the tea, what's the gossip on me, stuff like that. Like, yeah, you probably want to know about that. Oh, how do people see you physically and stuff, all this type of shit, like that you're curious about. But is it necessary though? Some instances maybe. I feel like it's always about the intent and who the messenger is and why they're doing it and what type of, are they providing clarity, or they're just feeding you entertainment and they leave it just simply at that. There's no actual advice. There's nothing to transmute the energy. There's nothing healing about it. It's just all to keep you in your ego, to scratch your back, pat you on the back, and, oh, you that girl, you that dude, everybody's jealous, and then send you on your way. But it doesn't, it's not doing anything for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is it giving you? You know, if you have to code switch, it's not literally, but maybe some people be like that, to fit in a demographic commercially. It's almost like, I think of how, when they say this, like back in the day, it was quote unquote like you cross over from R&B into pop, like you cross over, meaning like you're more palatable to white audiences now, um, that gets you more play, gets you more radio time, more commercial deals and opportunities, things like that. You have more sponsors when you cross over rather than being in the quote unquote R&B sector of things. So like with tarot, people that come into this with their truth, their true gifts and talents, and then they kind of forfeit it to fit into a market that's going to attract more different, like a wider audience, or a palatable, like, let me be a palatable spiritualist or reader, um or channeler or whatever. We don't need that. But I see a lot of that, and I have to call it out. Like, it is very tempting, because for one, what I've learned in this, like with the content aspect of all of this, is that people have short-term attention spans. They are bored one minute, they get their fix, and then they're on to the next. Whereas some people will stick with what truly benefits them, what is helpful to them, what they resonate with, and that may not be a majority of people, unfortunately. Like, you'll have those people that are steady because they really resonate with what you do, how you deliver it, how it's helped them, how it is helping them, where the majority of people run to what entertains them. And that's kind of like what you kind of have to wrap your mind around that in a healthy manner, that people will gravitate towards you for a time as long as you feed them what their ego wants, as long as you feed into their trauma, as long as you feed into their dysfunction, as long as you feed into their illusions. They will rock with you for a minute. But even then, that's not a loyal person, not someone that is really working on themselves truly, because once you're done feeding the fluff, they'll jump to the next person. So you don't want those type of people anyway as your viewers. You want people that really are seeking growth within themselves, that are looking for, like, if you truly are about that life, and you're not here just to get clicks and views, to just make money, to appeal to everybody, try to fit into a trend, or you really don't know yourself. You might be called, but you don't know yourself. You don't know your gift, and you're falling into the fad and the trends. You know what I mean? If you're on the path where you honor your path, you honor your raw, authentic self, because to be a spiritualist, like, your first ever healing experience or client is always going to be self. It's always going to start with yourself first. It's always going to start with you, and that's where you feel the call. You're not going to be perfect, and you're not going to be self-mastered in every single thing, but if you are a divine vessel and spirit is using you, that's just what it is. You don't have to come into this saying, "Oh, I'm self-mastered in everything, so now I'm capable or I'm worthy of being a spiritual worker. It's your willingness, it's your obedience to the craft. And when I say that, the sacredness of the craft and what you do, and honoring it and being pure hearted and intented with this, taking it seriously. Because I take this shit seriously. I have fun and stuff like that with it. We can kiki, we can laugh, we can have a good time, child. But I take what I do very seriously. And I feel like that's what makes what I do powerful as it is, in my opinion, and maybe other people's opinion. I don't share everything that people share with me about how my readings and stuff has helped. Like, I know testimonies probably help. It probably helps other people want to engage with you, get more customers, clients, whatever. But sometimes I feel like that's just a sacred reminder for me to keep going. It's not something I need to exploit and share with everybody. Oh, look, this person said this, and this person, sometimes it's just meant, I feel like they are used to, they're guided to share their testimonies because they don't have to. They can go about their lives and say that was helpful, or they can come back and get another reading. But those reassurances, for me, that's what they are, to remind me to keep going on the path, because there's not always that external validation. You know what I mean? You're not always going to get the top amount of views and things like that, especially some of the messages that I deliver. They're not easy messages to deliver for me. They might be deep to some and not that deep for others. They might be triggering for some people. Some people might be like, no, I needed to hear that. But it's not easy. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not even easy too. Like, if I think about, oh, if I could just play the game and just do fluff reads and just, that wouldn't even sit right with me. I don't even think I would be able to even, like, the messages wouldn't even come out. Like, I can't play those type of games. I don't even know how people do that. Like, that's too much energy to put into that. I don't get it. But, if you see something, because there will be times where I'll see something and I'm almost like, should I say that or nah? And then I'll feel this conviction, like, just say it. You have to say what you get and what you feel. And sometimes it's not always within the cards. It's because you're in a portal. You've opened a portal. You're tapping in. You're open. You're a vessel for spirit. And whatever comes through, or whatever you're sensing, feeling, seeing, or hearing, when you feel that conviction to express or share what you're getting, you have to. So it's not always just about the cards. It's like when you're tapped in, things are just going to start flooding, coming in, and you have to use your discernment. Like, okay, is this coming from my own interpretation of things? Is this projection? Is this coming from source? Is this coming from a reliable, trusted source? Or is this something, going on? Because there's times, I don't know about anybody else, if you're like a reader, a messenger, what have you, if you've ever been spiritually attacked while reading, where something will come over you and make you second guess what you're saying, or like discouraging messages will try to like hit you and say, you don't know what you're talking about, you stupid, stuff like that, and it make you sound like you're crazy. But that happens sometimes, and I feel like you have to combat that. That's a clear indication that what you're saying is on point, and it's like whatever that energy is does not want that truth to be revealed, because most likely it's going to set the person free when they hear it. And that's one thing that I've learned with this. Like, this is really a journey. Yes, you might have the gifting, you might have the calling, it might be in your bloodline, whatever, it might be your divine assignment in this lifetime. um it is a journey. You're learning as you go. No one can really teach you fully how to be a divine messenger. They can give you wisdom around it, or experience, their experience, or share things that you can do that might be helpful. But personally, this is for you to experience on your own. you know um but right now, like, this collective is really crying out, and has been crying out for a long time. Like, a lot of healing and a lot of things are being uprooted. You know what I mean? Like, it gets, quote unquote, worse before it gets better. Like, it has to. It's almost like a pimple. Like, sometimes that shit gotta burst in order to heal. It's like, sometimes some things, it's like it has to burst before the mess could be cleaned up. And I feel like that's what's happening with the planet. Like, the things that are of disease, it has to be uprooted. And it's like it's irritating. It's like an irritation energy in the atmosphere. Agitation, I should say. Because there is a massive energetic clearing that is happening right now. And for those that have the clear channels, like, you are absorbing all of this. You're absorbing the static and the pressure and the feeling of urgency and the angst and the pull of what's going on, what's happening. You know, I feel like prophets and prophetesses, they're needed on this planet because sometimes you are that bridge, like, or not sometimes, you are the bridge for between source, God, creator, to the world that needs it, or those that need it, to help give that clarity, to give that ear. Um, but you're also human too, so you have to know how to ground that energy, you know. Um, it's that pressure, especially around like justice and love, and a lot of ancestral memory is being awakened in people. People are fighting back all around the world because that is ancestral memory, and some of that is like ancestral rage working through some of these people, especially if you work with your ancestors. You're aware of your ancestors, or you're aware of maybe not them personally by name and face, but awareness that of your ancestors, and to a degree that it activates something in you, and some of it is it is rage. Some of it is rage. So um I feel sometimes too, like, it's hard to fully take in the download. Like, I'll feel something before I can fully verbally phrase it or express it. I don't know how to always put the puzzles together, and some things I have to sit on, and sometimes years I'll sit on certain things until it makes sense. Um, and I guess you can call it like incubation. It's not something that's fully ready to be expressed or shared. It's maybe meant for a divine time, right? Um, so I guess we can call it divine incubation. I don't know, and you're not procrastinating. I have a good sister friend of mine that is also a reader, a healer, um, and she still works with people, but she's taken herself off YouTube for a while, and it she'll know when it's time to return, because it's like everything has its divine time. Sometimes you have to live your life in the present moment for your spiritual journey, like, for it to come together, for things to start making sense, if that makes sense. um to be too active in this all the time is it's an overload. If it's divine, then that means that it has a divine season and order of things. Even the people that you work with, to want to be everybody's spiritualist, to want to be everybody's reader or whatever, is very dangerous, because not everybody is called and meant for you, and you're not called to work with everybody or to help every person. When you're open like that, you're receptible, and that's one of the biggest lessons I've learned coming into this. Coming into this too wide-eyed, too open-hearted, um, just not aware of spiritual protection in the way that I should have. Not even close to understanding that, and being too trusting and too open and wanting to help everybody. Um, can attract people that don't have good intentions for you. And I've learned that through this. So you don't want to be everybody's spiritualist, everyone's healer, everyone's reader, and so on and so forth. It's almost like wanting everybody to be your friends or wanting to be friends with everyone. That's not healthy, because not everybody is meant for you, and vice versa. Um, but yeah. So we're not doing sacredness from survival. We're not doing that anymore. So I feel like the spiritual fatigue is, it's not a punishment, but it's more so a reminder to work smarter and not harder. Work in flow, you know. Instead of overloading yourself with a schedule, create like a ceremony, a sacred, okay, when you know, in the mornings, this is what I do, and it's something sacred to you. It's something that, because this is what I notice when I think about schedules. it does give me anxiety, and maybe that's a lot of people feel that when you have all these schedules and you feel like, oh, I have to do this and I have to do that, it starts to not become sacred to you anymore. It becomes a chore, it becomes a job, it becomes a weight or a heaviness. You know, there was a time where I didn't enjoy doing readings. As much as I love reading and tapping in and assisting and helping, um, connecting with spirit in this way, it stopped becoming enjoyable for me, pleasurable, exciting, connected for me. It became like this chore or this weight where I kind of resented it at times, and I felt overused too energetically. Like I feel soon as, and it exposes things. It's another thing. Like I go through periods where I will shed subscribers or views. I'll go through those seasons, and I noticed that it started with the me not wanting to do twin flame readings, and I gave my full disclaimer as to why I was guided not to do them. I had lost a lot of subscribers at that time. Then there was a time where I felt like God was calling me to step away from the cards. And I had fully expressed that. The spirit didn't want me to lean on the cards alone and to trust my voice. I feel like that was something that I needed to go through. And I noticed I had lost view count. I noticed that when I stopped doing so much love readings, collective love readings, that I lost support. And I feel like what happens is that you will cleanse and purge out who you need to. When you say that something doesn't resonate with you anymore and you're not doing it, and you progress past something, you've healed past something, um those that are not ready for that, or they're not really for you, not really fully supportive of you, and in truth, sometimes people, yes, you'll disconnect with something maybe you've outgrown. That's the difference. When you've outgrown something or you've moved in a new direction, but if it's because you want to stay stuck in something, um, it's not so much that people are disengaging or non-supportive of you. They're non-supportive of themselves. To say that I want to stay in this because I think things through before I go through with it, and sometimes to the point of like I will torture myself. Like, is this really something I'm being guided to do? Or is this fear? Is this laziness? Is this, I check everything thoroughly before I just, oh, let me just jump the gun and do this. So, with everything that I've been guided to do or not do, when I look back at it, it's a spiritual purge and cleansing for those that are not for me. Because, like I said, coming into this, I was too open, too willing to help everybody, just anyone and everybody. And at that point, it was a lot of people pleasing in my energy still. I was still people pleasing, to the point where it wasn't healthy for me. You know, as soon as I set a boundary, I noticed that those that really do not have my best intentions and are not in the best healing spaces within themselves did not like that. But I needed to purge those people. They were not for me. Some people will leave and then they'll come back. Sometimes, like, too much tarot readings, too much insight all the time, overloads, the same shit, asking the same questions and stuff. That is not healthy for you. But I hold space for people to ask what you need to when you need it, or as how many times you need to, until it registers in your spirit, so you find the clarity that you seek. As long as you're actively seeking clarity and you actively want to break through and you actively want to heal or change or to find a solution, I'm all for that. Because how many times have we all stumbled and fallen and been stuck in something, and maybe we had to been told 10,000 times before we get the thing, before we get the understanding or the wisdom that we need, or until we get fed up and say, this isn't for me. It's like, you got to go through that sometimes. But if it's just for the sake of entertainment, or you just don't know how to take no for an answer, because sometimes spirit will say the same thing over and over again until you get it. And sometimes that's spirit's way of protecting you, because if you're still like, you want something to be different and you want it to be a certain way and it's not happening, spirit is protecting you from that. That's not meant for you. You're going to hear the same things guaranteed from different messengers until you get it. So you can bounce around and jump around. And what I notice sometimes, people that are in their own delusion, they'll seek out a reader that will feed into their delusion Um, and you got to be careful with that when you're in the energy of desperation. And if the reader is not ethical, if there's somebody that has the energy to read and sense things, like they have a gift of sight, if they're unethical, if they're like doing things out of malevolence, they will exploit your energy. Because one thing I know about desperation is that it's so easy to get got with that. It's so easy to get got. Desperation is like food to a wolf. You can exploit a person that's desperate. So like I have people that they'll try to throw it in your face. Oh, this person said that that was my twin flame, and then I'll feel the energy. I'm like, of course they told you that, like because they know you're gonna come back and get readings about this person, and it's gonna keep you in the loop. And why do you keep coming back to me? Because I'm telling you something opposite of that, and a part of you knows that it's the truth, but you don't want to accept it. And then by trying to like push back on me and say, oh well, this reader told me they're my twin. Like, what are you telling? Why are you trying to? What are you telling me this for? What is your purpose? To convince me of that, or to convince yourself like if someone else told me then you're wrong and I want to discount what you're saying, because it goes against your delusion. It goes against what you're so stuck in. But you keep coming back to me though because you know the truth. You know the truth. Like I don't like that type of stuff. I don't deal with no more. I don't deal with the twin flame stuff. I don't deal with none of that. That whole twin flame thing, in my opinion, child, I'm not saying that divine unions do not exist, a divine partner, but in that energy, that child, that is something that I don't want no parts of ever again. I don't want to like no, unless somebody comes and say I want to break this, whatever this energy attachment is to this whole twin flame thing. Oh, I got you. I'll be more than happy to help you. And then we can get to the root of like the trauma, the cycles, the loops, to help you align with healthy union. Because that, you know, that whole thing, my opinion, no, that is not something that I would ever want to be stuck in ever again. Like that, no. Or dealing, being in that energy, or other people that are so caught up in that and that energy of illusion, child, no. That is a dangerous place to be. I don't fuck with the whole twin flame movement. That is just not, I'm so not for that. Like I can hear people out when they discuss it in like a balanced tone, but still for me there's no true reasoning with that. I feel like what some of these people are expressing, they're just putting the title of twin flame on it. What they're really expressing is divine partnership and union, but that word twin flame and what comes with it is the energy that I don't fuck with. I don't like it. I don't like the energy of twin flame. Like it's just something about it to me always felt icky. It always felt like some sort of like love spellish, soul tie type of energy. I don't like it at all. I don't like what it does to people. I don't like how it affects people's um, emotions, their perceptions of love. It exposes a lot of wounding in people. Refusals to get out of those karmic loops and like make the excuse that, well, this is my twin flame. No, no, it's not. No, it's not. People can definitely be a divine mirror to you, but when you try to romanticize everything, you wouldn't want a twin flame. Like if you took that romantic lens that you try to put in, you wouldn't want that shit. Because I do feel like it's helpful. I feel like it is helpful, as far as spiritual growth is concerned, if you really take it in depth for what it is. But if you're just stuck at this romantic obsession and all of that, and we got to be together, that's my twin flame and the signs and the synchronicities, you're never like you're gonna be stuck for a long time. You're gonna be stuck. And this is how I knew that shit was just not it. Is when someone in a community that I was a part of, or more so, it was a friend of mine that was a twin flame reader at the time. I don't know if she still does this, but she had someone that was a part of her reading community that unalived themselves over the sake of not being able to be with their twin flame. something along the lines of that. They unalive themselves because of the whole twin flame situation. And I just, that right there just took me aback. And I connected with this one girl that was pretty popular in that community that left it because she was like, this shit is a motherfucking cult. And she knew it was wrong when this popular twin flame couple told her that, yeah, your partner, puts hands and feet on you, but that's your twin flame and you need to work it out with him. I was like, something that's supposed to be divine, y'all sure. And not saying that we're perfect beings because we're not perfect. But to the extent of where that person is your motherfucking enemy, child, I don't want nothing to do with that. That is not my divine partner. Anybody that's like abusive towards me, oh motherfucker, that is not my divine partner. That's twisted and sick to believe that. That's someone that is cruel towards you. That's supposed to be another part of your soul, a mirror of your soul, your other half. That bullshit. That new age fluff that sounds cute. To say that and then in the same breath walk in a quote unquote union with somebody that sometimes some of these people don't even know these people exist. Some of these people already are in relationships that they're not getting out of. They're with their true divine counterparts, and you're thinking that this person is your divine counterpart. It pulls you into an energy of obsession. It pulls you in an energy of jealousy, envy, rage, dangerous games and walls. Some it just keeps you single for a long time because you're chasing something that's not for you, or you're saying that this abusive person, because that's your vision of love, that is your wounded perception of love, that's what this twin flame, that's what I believe, child. It gives leeway to trauma bonds, it gives leeway to soul ties, it is an open gateway and door to keep people single. um Yeah. Yeah, them people are crazy. Like, yeah, anyone that's telling you to stay with somebody that's a monster is, and you yourself, you should know like this ain't right. But because that twin flame stuff does capture a lot of people that are not healed in trauma or healed when it comes to love. They don't have healthy perceptions or experiences in love. So that is their perception of love. So if it be that my twin flame is just a runner, they are not healed yet, they don't understand, they don't see, you'll hold space for them. You'll continue to hold space for them and harm yourself in the process. And if you have handlers in these so-called twin flame communities telling you that that's your person, y'all need to be together because they're your twin flame and they don't know any better, they need to heal and they heal when you heal and all that phony bullshit, you are going to be stuck in a karmic cycle and loop for probably a long time. Going back to the potential thing versus becoming. It's one thing to have the sight to see a person's potential because we all have potential, right? But there's a becoming. When you step into your calling, your purpose, who you are, you're actively moving in that is different. And people are stuck on potential. They're not witnessing anyone's becoming. And they give it an excuse and say, oh, well, they're a runner. They're not healed. So I'm going to wait. And I'm going to be abused in the process. Or settle for the fact that this person may not even want me at all. Maybe not even entertaining me. But I will wait for that person. I will stalk that person. I will harass people over it. Like, that stuff is crazy. Like the stories that I've heard and read and people's testimonies and that type of shit. I'm like, this shit is crazy. Like, why would y'all want, why? Like, why? That shit is crazy. It's getting to the point, and this is another thing, a part of the spiritual fatigue that I want to talk about. When it comes to women specifically, when it comes to heterosexual relationships specifically, I'm gonna touch on that. I can't speak on gay relationships because I don't fully understand it, and I've never been in one, so I can't speak for you all, right? In that sense. But what I've noticed in the community, why women are so tired and why they're choosing not to date and why they're choosing celibacy or abstinence or choosing not to have children or choosing not to get married is because women have been taught to hold space for men even when it hurts them. Even when it has harmed you and hurt you, to hold space for men, to make excuses, to coddle them. And this is part of the reason why a lot of women in our generation and older are dealing with so many broken men, because the mothers. And if we go into trauma based off of culture, based off of race, based off of, things that your ancestors endured, why they may have been so protective of the men, then you'll understand it a little bit. But that doesn't mean that it's okay. We're breaking generational curses. We're breaking that off. Men have to rise on their own. They have to want to heal on their own. And there's some that's fighting against it so much so that they hate women. They hate them to the core and the depths of them. They hate women. They only see women as a body, something to exploit, something to use, and sometimes to feed their ego or to tear another woman down, to find their strength in that, to find their confidence in that, to feel like something or somebody. And it is revolutionary when a woman says, no, I gatekeep my body, my time, and my energy, and I don't have time to play with you. And you're not going to play with me. I'm not going to hold myself underwater while you stand on my neck, while I prop you up and hold you up. I'm not doing that anymore. Mm-mm. No. Women are tired of that. No. And it's not a man versus woman thing. This is a healing order. This is a divine purge of the bullshit. I'm doing this for my grandmas, my mamas, my aunties that came before me, the sisters and all of them that came before me that had to endure trauma to protect the man. And that's backwards to an extent. I feel like there's a way to support others, to support a man, to support your community. But there's a difference between the type of capacity and level and energy exertion of support and protection. That's a difference between men and women vibrationally. For a woman to be overexerting themselves in the way that they have, that is masculine energy, imbalanced masculine energy at that. It's trauma, it's survival. You know, there's things that we're not meant to endure in this lifetime. And I feel that by women saying, I'm not doing that anymore, is revolutionary in so many ways. And I feel like it takes the spiritual weight and debt off of the mothers that came before you that may have did it. Now, I'm not saying that it wasn't in pride or in honor or even in unconditional love, but to an extent, it's a program. It's that whole, let's say, in slavery, right? Because that was a very traumatic experience for a lot of our ancestors that went through that specific Atlantic slave trade, whether they were dropped off in the America, this, United States of America, or they were dropped off somewhere around the world. That the process of breaking the soul and breaking the people, all of that was psychologically just a system of just evilness, or a very structured system of evilness to break the people down spiritually. So a lot of what was going on would bring out these survival modes in people that are not natural, you know? It's like you got to think, and this is why I give them much props, because what would you do if you were in that position? Probably the same thing. So it's not to shame them, but it's like, if you have the ability and the capability to change the narrative, that you're not in that same energy, you have the power to break it and free them of that. Like, they're not carrying that weight or energy. You're not carrying that weight or that energy. You're not teaching your daughters that that's okay, or your sons to allow a woman to coddle them, or to make excuses for their bullshit, or to cover them when they're wrong, affirm them when they're wrong, when they're not in the right, when they're not standing in their truth or their divinity, or they're not trying. There is a lazy energy. We're not giving props to that anymore. We're not giving an excuse to that anymore. It can be, I see your plight, I understand your pain to the best of my ability and understanding, and I could hold space in the sense of having compassion for you. But to coddle you, that is not love. Not really. It's not love. So I'm gonna use this phrase. It's like I love it though, because I came across it not that long ago. But your heart is not a trauma center. You're an altar. So as an altar, you have to keep it sacred. You gotta keep it cleansed. You have to feed power and love and light and reverence to it, right? It is a space of reverence, a space of remembrance. So if you treat yourself like an altar instead of a motherfucking trauma center, child, there's a difference. Hello, greetings. Yeah, there's a difference. You're not a trauma center. So take this time, like if you need to take a rest from certain energies, things that are just too overwhelming, and it might suck to say, okay, I don't want to watch the news right now. You might feel bad if you're not actively fighting or getting upset and riled up. Like there's ways to do it behind the scenes. I was about to say, like, with seeing all this stuff going on with, the riots and things, I was like, you know, some of these brujas and shit, like y'all get on your shit, get on your game, which I'm really sure, I'm almost 1000% sure that they are behind the scenes, because not everything requires you to be out on the front lines. Some of this shit is like, as a spiritualist, you work your big one behind the scenes, you know. And I was gonna say loosely, but I was like, you know what? I understand Santa Muerte's energy is not one to play with, and if you're not ready for her to work with her, you shouldn't be conjuring her up. You know what I mean? It's a little spiritually immature and unwise to be like, yeah, y'all better start working with Santa Muerte, or just because you Latino that does. I don't feel like certain practices, just because you're of the culture, always means that you're called for it, or that you should be dabbling in it, or that you're ready for it. You know what I mean? So I'm like, nah, better not say that. But however you're called to um, work your magic, your craft, um, to protect and defend. And I wanted to say Santa Muerte because she does work with injustice and things like that. But again, like, you have to be called to work with her. She's one of them that you don't awaken and mess with and play with unless you're really ready for her. Because she does represent the holy death, and the holy death does deal with transformation, ego death, shadow work. So if you're into the light goddesses and the love and the beauty, you ain't ready for that. Or you might be, because there's a balance in everything. But I would just, wisely say. So, yeah, if you need to post less, pour into yourself a little bit more, that definitely is up to you. I was going to pull some cards, child, but we already like an hour in. I don't, I don't really feel it, but let's see what Spirit got to say. It might not even be about this, because we just went on a tangent, child. Yeah, because I don't want y'all to overextend yourself, even if you're not a quote unquote spiritualist. Just be more mindful of the energy that you spend. Like, everything does not require your attention or deserves your attention, or especially not right away or in a certain manner. Like, you have to have, your spiritual boundaries. If you ain't feeling something, you ain't feeling it. You need a break from something, you must honor that for yourself. Um, and it can feel like you're not doing enough sometimes, but like the things that because we as humans, oftentimes we equate how much we do in quantity, uh, that measures up to worth and value, when sometimes the small things also hold weight in the spirit. Like I said, prayer, Your tears, your rage, those are energies. That is magic. That is conjured. So you are doing spiritual work in a big way. Yeah, this is time to prioritize your rest. Some of you guys are in a hermit energy where this is more so of a time to rejuvenate your energy. It's time because there might be more that awaits. There's more that awaits you. There's work to be done when it's time, and it might be quite a bit of work because there is going to be a period. Um, Maybe around Halloween. There's something significant with the season of Halloween this year, or whenever you watch this, that you're going to be called to um, be on your A game spiritually. There's something with chickens. I'm not saying that y'all need to do anything to no chickens and stuff like that. I am not encouraging that. That is, me personally, I don't get into that. But, you know, that's just me. Might be something else with this. When Halloween comes, or around that season, make sure that you are protecting your doors, that you do some sort of spiritual work around your doors and your home, specifically, most importantly, your front door. Um, pumpkins, pumpkins do hold sacred properties for abundance, fertility, things like that. But the carvings of Halloween pumpkins could be a form of protection. So if you do put one out, it is a warding off of spirits. Maybe you'll carve something specifically in it, or the type of face that you carve, it might be specific, or you might be guided to do that. But if you put one in front of your door, set the intention to ward off spirits, because around that time, for some reason, I don't know if people are just gonna be just cuckoo. I don't know. Or like October or something. I don't know what the type of energy is around that. I don't know if we're gonna have a blood moon soon around that time or something, but this isn't fear mongering. This is just like for the spiritualists that be up on game, and they know how to protect and do what they got to do. Okay. So this isn't anything to cause fear. But I am getting like, do some sort of work around your door, specifically your front door, to ward off energies, spirits. Um, Maybe when you set an intention, maybe you're going to put something in it, like inside of your pumpkin too, as well. Like it could be herbs or something. I don't know. That you're going to set intentions and pray and bless and put it into the pumpkin. Of course, you want to bless, choose your pumpkin as your, like, if you feel called to a certain pumpkin, that's for a reason. To pray over it, to bless it, whatever, cleanse it, set intentions over it. And then, yeah, as far as I know. I don't know if there is a blood moon, but I kind of get that vibe from this too. Um, Something with like twins. Obatala is here. Feel led to work with Obatala. Oya even as well. Um, Feel like this is just like to maybe call those that are these are their heads. Obatala and Oya may be a confirmation for somebody. Yeah, I think we already had a blood moon. But um yeah, just spirit saying to guard your gates. Some of you guys are trickster spirits. Like you do one thing or it looks one way, but behind the scenes, it's like it's almost like you don't let, what is it, the right hand know what the left hand is doing. Yeah. Yeah, so I feel for some of you, like I said, take a break for sure, rest. Something with chicken feet. Hold on. What the hell? Where is this going? I need my guidebook because this is a very specific deck. Like I read intuitively with it, but I also like to make sure I'm in the coloring in the lines with this deck as well because it is a system to this particular deck. Let me see what they're talking about with these chickens because they standing out to me. Let me get the guidebook real quick. But you guys can hear me. I'm walking around with my microphone on so y'all can hear me. So I'm gonna go to my bookshelf. I just need to, let me see. Pretty sure. Let me see. Doo-doo-doo-doo. All right. Um, Ritual gestation and birth. Here the candidates partake in the seclusion that precedes birth into another life. The womb silence and nurturance are invoked to provide an environment for the newfound revelations to grow and flower within the deepest recesses of the candidates. They lie in the fetal position, each cared for by his or her sponsor. A chicken lies at their feet of each candidate, and organic matter anoints their foreheads. Here it would be good to address the misunderstood and morbidly emphasized practice of animal. Not going to say that word, but it says we exist in a society that condones the slaughter of vast number of fur babies for food. What's the difference between slaughter and sacrifice? Mm. The chickens in this card are an example of both slaughter and sacrifice. First, they feed the divine within the candidate, and then they are cooked to feed the human. They are a graphic reminder that life feeds on life. Um, Interesting. There's something that maybe like you are going to, in order to grow, you are something. It's like going to cycle itself out, and you do have to sacrifice. And I'm not, for those of you that are spiritually just in psychosis, child, do not take this like, oh, I gotta say, no, we ain't talking about no satanic rituals or shit like that. So please, that disclaimer real quick. No, don't put words in my mouth, okay? No, I am not condoning that. I'm talking about energetically speaking, something that you do have to let go of that you're called to, not because of delusions and stuff and doing stuff to animals and people and shit like that. No, I'm not telling you to do that. Um, I would hope ain't nobody crazy like that would even be listening to my channel, like in the first place, because no. So you are going through like a spiritual maintenance right now. This is a period where you do need to rest, and it might be that spirit is telling you like there's things that lie in front of you and your feet like a threshold. You're in one energy about to walk into another, and it's a very thin line. So that means that it's not something physical, it's more so of maybe like a change in perspective or an idea or something that clicks for you, that this is what's holding me back. This is, the things that have been keeping me stuck mentally, emotionally, um, keeping me from fully stepping into, you know, the what I'm supposed to step into in this new season, this part of my journey, my life, my purpose. Um, it's time to find that internal aspiration, as the card says. It's time to find that on the inside. If you've been trying to find that or conjure up the energy externally or trying to figure it all out in what you see, it's not going to come through that. It's going to come through internal inspiration. Okay. So all you need to do at this time, I feel like, is be present. You living your life is really the inspiration for your next phase. Yeah. 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 So I hold space, you know, Um, I hold space with spiritual boundaries. Okay. Now, I'm not one to coddle people. I hope that I speak to the inner parts of people when they forget who they are, when they forget, their purpose, or they're having a hard time figuring out like their worth, their value. Like that's what I believe I'm here to assist people with, remind them that they can live a happy and healthy life in a practical way. Like it's not hard to do. I mean, the process may be a little hard, but it's not hard to, it's not too far fetched, you know? It's not too far fetched to align yourself, to have a healthy life, to find a healthy relationship or be in healthy union with someone. It's not unrealistic. Does it require inner work? Yes, of course. It requires you to steward yourself constantly. Yes, of course. Loving yourself is a constant choice to show up for yourself, of course. Just like with any relationship, it is a choice to show up for it daily, because there's going to be times where you struggle. There's going to be times where you're confused, where you don't feel your best, or you may not be feeling yourself that day. Or if you're in a relationship where you don't always like everything about that person, it is a constant choice to decide whether this is something that is worth showing up for. You know, you have to love yourself um into the change that you seek, into the happiness and joy that you seek. We have to choose ourselves for that, because no one else is going to be the quick fix that we need. They might make you happy for the moment, but if you're not truly internally happy within yourself, that's just a mirage of happiness and joy, because it's not truly generated from within. It's something that's been placed on you from an external person or a source or something like that, right? So yeah, I'm not here to chastise and hurt people's feelings. Like that's not my intentions at all. But I understand sometimes when medicine hits you, it will feel like, oh, you coming at me, because it doesn't taste good all the time, right? But and I say that all the time. It's not gonna taste good, but it's what you need. If it's truly what you need, if it's the right medicine for your specific sickness or illness, pain that you need, if it's what you need and it's prescribed to you by the divine, most likely a medicine that's like real herbal medicine, it's not going to taste good. It's not going to be sweet like the over the counter stuff, the grocery store stuff, drugstore stuff. It's not going to have the sweetness, the cherry, the grape, and all that. It's not going to have that taste to it. So it's not going to be as easily digested sometimes, but it's what we need, right? Um, yeah. Um, Something with Nigeria is coming through too, but I'm not sure why. I don't know. Um, well, that is my sign, my cue to go. I think that I got to go ahead and get my book out of the mailbox. I need to get my book. But I'll catch you guys soon. Hey, yeah, I'll catch you guys soon. Could be like, is this Portugal? I don't know what I'm seeing. Could be Portugal. Let me see. I'm about to. Nope. Port. Uh, Portuguese. Hmm. I don't know, but that's what I don't know what that has to do with anything. We're gonna hold on to that. It might come to me later. The Portuguese flag, um, it's something with that. I don't know. But I'm gonna leave it. It might come to me at some point, but I'm pretty sure that that's what that is. I'm seeing. So you guys might need to do some sort of mirror magic. I'm not talking about like glamour spell magic, but like protection with mirrors. Um, if you're led to, if you're in however you're guided to, or maybe you already know what you need to do, but something with protection and mirrors. Okay. I'm gonna send you guys much love. Y'all be blessed, be safe, take care, and until the next reading, y'all take care, be blessed, peace.